in Illinois. Welcome from everybody. I hear all over the United States you're attending, which is kind of cool. As Megan said earlier, virtual is kind of different for everybody, but we're certainly making it work, and everybody realizes the importance of CPS. I'm really glad that you guys could join us. It's very exciting. A few tips about this conference, just so that you know what you're in. You're in the CPS Curricula, what's new in 2021. You will not earn any continuing education hours for this unit. There will be a chat box. Feel free to chat anytime that you want. Any questions that you may have at the end, the last 15 minutes of this session will be for Tammy to answer any of the questions that you have. We will scroll through them. What we can't get to will be in a follow-up email after the conference. Now, without further ado, let's introduce Tammy. Many of you guys have known her. Tammy's been involved in CPS for a very long time. Tammy has worked in injury prevention field for more than 20 years. She is a National Safety Council special matter expert on causes of preventable death at home, in communities, and on the road. Her current responsibilities include creating transportation-related curricula to help reduce education injury prevention professionals and the public at large. Prior to joining National Safety Council, Tammy worked as the CPS coordinator for multiple state hospital systems. Additionally, she has served as the statewide child passenger safety training coordinator. She is a nationally certified CPS technician since 1999. Tammy recently served as chairperson on the National Child Passenger Safety Board and recently moved into the role of secretariat, managing the daily activities of the board. Ultimately, Tammy is dedicated to helping families travel on the roadways and make us all safer. So take it away, Tammy.
Thank you so much, Claire. I appreciate it, and for the warm welcome. So hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. So I am going to spend a little time going over some changes, some updates to CPS Curricula and sharing what's new in 2021. So let's first start with the National Child Passenger Safety Technician Certification Training. So as you know, this curriculum launched last February. We started using it on February 1st of 2020. Hopefully you've had the opportunity to teach it. I know that many of us have not been in the classroom as we would have liked to have been in this past year. But we did have many people who were teaching it. So as they were teaching, we got and reviewing to prepare, we got lots of suggestions for updating the revisions. We tried to launch as perfect as a product as possible, but there's always revisions that need to be done. And so looking and reviewing the curriculum feedback form. So thank you to all of you who have taken time to submit that curriculum feedback form about the 2020 curriculum. The board has worked to launch or to prepare revisions, and these will launch hopefully by the end of February they have been approved by the board. We just need to process them through and get the materials ready to go out to the public. So we encourage you to continue to submit curriculum feedback forms as you return to the classroom or as you continue teaching, and let us know what you would like to see. We catalog all of them, we review them, they're shared with all of the board members, and that's how we consider the revision. So really, our goal is to update the curriculum once a year to provide clarity, update pictures that may need to be updated, or it may even be an addition of content if something changes drastically in between over the year. So what should you expect to see over the next, or with this revision that we'll be launching? So you'll see that there are multiple documents that have been updated, so including the PowerPoint presentations. I'm not going to go through each of the PowerPoint presentations and tell you, but I will give you a sample of what we've done. Additionally, we've done some updates to the activities, and this is just based on feedback in the classroom that maybe it wasn't working, the flow wasn't right, and then also we updated the instructor guides to help support the activities and provide clarity where we were receiving a lot of questions. We also clarified skills 1 and 4, and I will go over those skills evaluations with you. And you'll see some simple updates, directions, just clarifying processes in the instructor prep guide and the planning and logistics guide. I won't be sharing those with you today. They're just minor, typos and, like I said, clarification. So we won't spend a lot of time on that. And then additionally, the frequently asked questions will be updated, and I'll share more about that in a little bit. So let's look at some of these. First, starting with the sample PowerPoint, or with the PowerPoint presentations, here's a sample image that's getting replaced. So you can see here, oops, we goofed. I can't unsee it now, but I sure didn't catch it when we were reviewing the photos and the PowerPoints. But there is a projectile on the floor there. So it looks like the head restraint was removed for the picture purposes, and it was placed on the floor and left there. And so we need to replace that picture. So thank you to the keen eyes that pointed that out, and we're going to get that updated. And I thought that this picture from the updated NHTSA image library was a perfect replacement in terms of, oh my, how did we miss that? So you can see these are the types of changes that we'll be making. You will see updates to 7 modules. Again, mostly with images, but it may also be to text. We misspelled a couple words in a couple of the modules, and so we'll be clarifying or updating those as well. So you'll see updates to 7 modules, 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And then we'll send out detailed information about where to find these updated presentations. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the activities where we have updated the information. So you'll see here that activity in Module 4 on 4-13, which is identifying retractors and latch plates, has been updated. And it was a simple change, but it really makes sense. And I'll explain why in just a moment. But we swapped the order. If you look at the red arrows that's pointing to the areas that were changed, we swapped the order that the students will be answering the questions, so that they're first identifying the retractor, and then second, they'll be identifying the type of latch plate in this activity. And the reason that we did this is if you look at the flow chart for what locks a seatbelt on 4-19, I hope you're making use of this flow chart. This is a reminder about how the information has been reorganized in Module 4, so the seatbelt module. We first introduced retractors, and then we introduced latch plates. So it makes sense when we're asking the students to participate in activity and evaluating them during the skills evaluation that we ask first about the retractor and then about the latch plates. So following in the same order that the technician guide goes, that they're practicing that information, and then they're applying it during the skills evaluation. So you'll see here as well, excuse me, that skills evaluation number 1 has been updated. And you'll see that the type of retractor is first, and that the type of latch plate is second. The other change that we've made, or update that we have made, is under latch plates, we have put sliding and dynamic as one together on the same line. So when they're identifying the type of latch plate, the students will be identifying a locking latch plate, a sliding or dynamic, or a sewn-on latch plate. So they only have 3 options. And the reasoning again for this is that really with the sliding and dynamic, the fix is the same to install that car seat. So, you know, what our purpose is not to trip students up or to make it super difficult. The purpose is to make certain that they can leave the class knowing how to install a car seat. So the reason that this discussion came up was in the activity, sliding and dynamic were presented on one line. And then the skills assessment, we had separated them out. So after great discussion, we decided to combine them on one line. And so the students have those 3 options of locking or sliding dynamic or sewn-on. I should mention at this point that all of these activities and the updates to the skills evaluations have been piloted. Fortunately for us, we had board members who were teaching classes in December, and they piloted the materials in Alaska and Texas for us and provided feedback. So it's been tested in the field, it's been vetted through the board. So like I said, it's been approved and we're ready to launch, and we hope that you make these changes as well. Additionally, we have provided an update to the activity in module 9, which is forward-facing car seats. So the intent of this activity was to examine car seat misuse. So when we initially published the tech guide, we misnamed the activity and we called it forward-facing car seat misuse rather than car seat misuse. So the intent is to look at both rear-facing and forward-facing and examine for misuse in both of those scenarios. We also did some updates to the questions. So you'll see there, with some of the ordering too, but question number 4 has been updated to read, does the child meet the age, weight, and height requirements for the car seat and direction of use? And that was combining 2 questions. Is the car seat type appropriate for age and size? And also, does the child fit in the car seat per height and weight requirements? So we tried to clean that up and combine them because really those questions were asking the same thing and it was a bit confusing. And then additionally, we added a question about whether or not the buckle is being used in the correct position. And we wanted to point that out because that's an important part of car seats and proper fit of harnesses that has changed since the last iteration of the technician guide. And we missed adding that to this activity, and so we incorporated it at this point. Additionally, at the top of the activity, you'll see that we grouped together what is the car seat make, model, and date of manufacturer, and whether or not the car seat is recalled. Now, we know you have concerns in the field in terms of we don't want people touching the misuse, so we provided some guidance on that. So in addition to the activity being updated, you will also find an update, excuse me, on the setup in the instructor guide on 9-3. So we've clarified that this activity should be conducted in the classroom. Additionally, we have stressed that these are suggested scenarios. We know that everybody's training seats differ and the availability by class may differ depending on how your teaching is set up in the area or maybe who your partners are. So we wanted to stress that these are suggested scenarios, but you can adjust them based on what seats are available and additionally in what dowels are available to you. We also offer the suggestion to share the car seat make, model, and date of manufacturer with the students so that they do not have to move the car seat. So they already have the opportunity to find the manufacturer's labels, so that make, model, and date of manufacturer label in Module 7. So in the Introduction to Car Seats, one of the Learn, Practice, and Explains, they are learning and practicing and explaining how to find the date of manufacturer and checking for recalls. So they've already practiced this skill. So it's okay. What we suggest is if you can, provide, if you're using the same seats and setting up the same scenarios every training, or if you have the option of prior to the training to take a picture of the label and provide that next to the car seat so they don't have to disturb it, but they can still look up the information. Another option would be if you would like the students to participate in this activity in finding the make, model, and date of manufacturer, ask them to hold off on doing questions 1 and 2, and then have them complete that after you've done the misuse activity. So there's a couple different ways of approaching that, and whatever works for your teaching team. Additionally, you'll see that we have provided updated scenarios. So we have made certain to incorporate a suggested scenario for each type of car seat to which they've been introduced up to this point in time. So a rear-facing only car seat, a rear-facing convertible, a rear-facing all-in-one seat, a forward-facing a convertible seat, a combination seat, and a forward-facing all-in-one car seat. You'll also see that the misuses are varied across each one, and some will have a couple, some may only have one. It may be a selection, it may be a harnessing error, it may be both. Again, we're just trying to provide some scenarios for you to make it easier for you as you set it up. Again, I will stress that these are suggested scenarios. If you need to adjust them for your teaching, what you have available in your teaching kit, please feel free to do so. The important thing is that we conduct that activity. Additionally, you will be getting one page of the instructor guide that's updated because we missed a keyword. So kudos to you. We have got lots of submissions that we missed this keyword in your instructor guide. So I guess the positive is I'm excited to see how many people are reading their instructor guides and studying them so thoroughly. But you will see here in the discussion points for Module 10, we missed the keyword. So where in that first discussion point for a seat to be properly positioned on the child, in the booster seat, the child's ears should not be above the back of the vehicle seat in a backless booster seat or the top of the head restraint in a high back booster seat. So we missed that word not, and so that is key. It is correct in the technician guide. It was just omitted inadvertently from the instructor guide. So we'll be providing a page for you that you'll be able to print out and replace in your instructor guide. So thank goodness they came as a 3-hole punch so that makes that changing much easier for you. Okay. So moving on to 2 activities where we clarified it in the instructor guide, but not the technician guide. So you will see here in Module 12, interacting with caregivers and identifying seating arrangements. Initially, we tried to provide you with the correct answers, but really, I think what happened over time that activity got changed and the answers didn't get quite updated. And there really isn't, if you've taught this, there isn't a correct answer for this, one correct answer for this activity about where everybody fits. So you're looking at a driver and a caregiver, and then you have 3 children. So what we did, instead of providing you with a correct answer, because there really truly isn't one correct answer, we provided you suggestions to guide your conversation or considerations when working through this scenario, which includes that reminders that children under the age 13 should not ride in the back seat, or should ride in the back seat whenever possible, and not ride in the front seat if it can be avoided. But the question is, are all 3 children who are 2 months, 3 years old, and 8 years old using car seats or booster seats? And if so, will all 3 fit across the back seat? And if not, which child will sit up front? And so then it guides you through reminding you that a rear-facing car seat should not be used in the back seat, in the front seat. Boy, I'm getting confused here today, sorry. That a rear-facing car seat must not be used in a front passenger seat in a vehicle with an active frontal airbag. So excuse me, so let me stress that again, that a rear-facing car seat must not be used in a front passenger seat in a vehicle with a frontal airbag, an active frontal airbag. But if you have a forward-facing child who must ride in the front passenger seat, are they using a car seat? Is the harness properly secured? Can we move that vehicle seat as far away from that active frontal airbag as possible? And then other considerations would be, does that rear-facing seat fit behind the driver? I don't know. That's a conversation that you need to have with the class. And then just a reminder that the booster seat has to be used with a lap and shoulder belt. So it needs to go in one of the outboard seating positions because there's a lap-only belt in that center seating position. We did continue to include the reminder that as child passenger safety technicians, we cannot tell caregivers that they need to buy a new car. We have to work with what they have. And so hopefully this guidance will help, or these considerations will help guide your discussion rather than trying to have one prescribed answer. Let us know how it works for you. You can always submit a curriculum feedback form as well. And then the additional activity that we updated was the conduct a seat check in Module 12 as well. So the information that's in the tech guide does not need to be updated, but the instructions in the instructor guide or the directions for conducting this activity needed to be updated. So we provided some clarification. First of all, we stressed that this conduct a seat check should be conducted in the vehicle and not on a vehicle demonstrator seat in the classroom. And that it was important for the students to, the purpose of the activity is for them to understand the flow of an in-person seat check so that they are ready for skills evaluation 4. Additionally, we provided guidance that each team would be working with a member of the instructor team. So your teams, you would have as many scenarios set up as there were instructors available on your instructor team to help guide this activity. Additionally, you want to encourage the instructors to set up the scenarios ahead of time to help save time when you go out to the vehicle, because you only have 40 minutes to do this activity. We then encourage you to use the same car seat check form that you'll be using for skills evaluation 4, again, allowing the students to gain familiarity with that check form. And from there, the instructor will guide the students through the car seat check, so somewhat modeling it, but they may also ask the technicians, like, explain to me how you would adjust the harness on this car seat, or how should we install this car seat? So it's okay to make it as interactive as possible, and you want to involve the technicians and not just model, so that they're getting that hands-on experience. They're doing that learn, practice, and explain to help better prepare them for skills evaluation number 4. So, and then we'll still continue, as I said earlier, it's stressed here to refer the students to the directions and the technician guides. That is all, those are all up to date. They don't need to be updated as well. And then finally, we will be doing an update to skills evaluation number 4. And it's not a changing in the testing procedures at all or the evaluation procedures. It's an update to the directions. They were we've learned a lot. This was the first time that we've done this evaluation of the students during the checkup event, the official or formal evaluation. And so it's taken us a little bit to get the wording correct. And so hopefully this will help provide you with the guidance that you need. So really stressing that the students need to demonstrate 7 of the 10 skills, and I'll show you those in just a moment, or the 10 actions on the answer sheet, that they have up to 2 tries to do this, but also stressing that if they demonstrate all 7 on the first car seat check, they do not need to be evaluated by an instructor on the second car seat check. So this form here, and you'll see this note down here, and it's also going to get repeated up here, stressed up here, that car seat check number 2 is optional. It's only if the students do not demonstrate all 7, at least 7 of the actions successfully demonstrated, and receive a yes during the first car seat check. Now, realistically, they should demonstrate all 7 to 10 of them, because this is what we ask you to do with every car seat check. So it's very possible for students to be able to complete this being evaluated as the lead checker, the lead technician, almost technician for car seat number 1. So it's not, car seat number 2 is not, that evaluation is not mandatory unless the students do not successfully demonstrate 7 of the 10 skills. Okay. One thing I did fail to mention, and I want to cycle back to, for those of you who like to keep your instructor guide up to date and have the everything matches, we will be be providing thumbnail images of the updated PowerPoint slides so that you can do a little cut and paste action, cut them out and then paste them over the images that are currently in your instructor guide. We'll make sure that they're sized properly so that you can replace and update those as well. So hopefully that is helpful to you to keep your instructor guide as up to date as possible. So overall, those are the curriculum revisions that you will be seeing to the 2020 curriculum. There'll be the 2021 revisions to that curriculum. And then the next time that you should expect to see curriculum revisions to the 2020 curriculum would be in February of 2022, which seems so far away, but I think we'll be here before we know it. So please keep those comments coming in through the curriculum feedback form. Additionally, I'll show you some other ways that you can reach us if you have some questions as well. So just as a reminder, I wanted to make certain that you knew where to find the supporting materials for the curriculum in addition to the instructor download materials. So hopefully this page looks familiar, the cpsboard.org homepage. And you would come in and you would click on this box, the instructor resources. So this is where you will find the instructor material downloads, the curriculum feedback form, all of the PowerPoints and videos, but also I want to point out that this is where you find the module resources. So we get lots of questions like, where do I find the extra activity worksheets? Where do I find the handout that's referenced in this module? And these are available in these blue accordion files. So these are the resources. It's titled Resources for Modules 1 through 13. And each module, there's a separate drop-down list for each of the modules, making it easy to navigate. So I'm going to show you Module 6 here just as an example. And you can see here, when you click on Module 6, it allows you to locate, it has the activities that are referenced and the handouts that are referenced. Additionally, you can find supplemental vehicle owner's manuals. So if you don't have enough for your class, you can print off the pages about car seats or seatbelts or airbags, whatever you need. But I really wanted to stress and point out, for those additional questions that you might have about a module, we do have frequently asked questions. So the FAQs have been updated and incorporated and announced in instructor emails throughout this past year. And this is one way for us to communicate the information to make certain that everything is being presented uniformly or standardized across the country. So when you click on the frequently asked questions, you will get for each module, and this is just showing you Module 1. Obviously, when you click on Module 6 there, the frequently asked questions should be Module 6, but for demonstration purposes, I included this one. The frequently asked questions will help guide you as you deliver the curriculum. So, for example, here this is stressing that the information in the tech tip boxes is unique. It's not repeated in the text, and you need to present this information because it's important to the learning process, and the students may be evaluated on it during the class. Some of them are helpful hints as well. And then this also it explains why words are in blue and bolded text. That means that they're in the glossary of terms that's in the back of the tech guide as well, with the first occurrence. We've made these sheets, these frequently asked questions, so it's easy to 3-hole punch them and add them to your instructor guide. So you can just simply slip them in at the front of your module, at the back of the module for quick reference. Please note that these will all be updated based on the revisions that we're making to the curriculum, and that will be included in the information that's sent out as well as to what frequently asked questions, to which modules the changes have been made, so that you have that information as well, the most up to date. I'm also happy to announce to help support the training program, and the National Child Passenger Safety Board in December launched a toll-free program support line, and you'll see the number there, to help answer questions and connect people with national and state resources. So the program line is answered weekdays during Central Time business hours, most of the time by me. Hi. If you have questions about the National Digital Car Seat Check Form, you can also use this program support line. There's an option for that, and those questions will be answered by Amy Artuso. So I have to say, I'm really enjoying it. It's great to connect with technicians and instructors from across the country, answering their questions. I hope that you find this resource helpful. Please leave a message if I'm not able to get to the phone. I do try to clear all messages in the first thing in the morning and last thing in the evening. So I try not to leave anything unanswered overnight. So I really try to get everybody's questions answered as quickly as possible. Additionally, you can reach me at secretariat@cpsboard.org if you have questions about the curriculum. All right, so changing topics. And I know, and I apologize, I know that many of you probably joined today because you wanted to hear more about the hybrid training option. So as the board announced in late 2020, we are in the process of developing a hybrid training option for the 2020 National Child Passenger Safety Technician Certification Training. I am not able to share any information yet about the details or the design or the delivery of the hybrid training curriculum. Those will be shared. We'll do an initial announcement or information sharing a little bit at the Lifesavers, during the Lifesavers conference. And then we'll have a series, because we realize that some people may not be attending the Lifesavers conference, we will do a series of webinars. They'll be repeat webinars, so you only need to attend one if you're interested, in May, sharing some more details about this. We just did a call to instructors for crowdsourcing of videos to help support the training curriculum. Due to the pandemic, we're not able to travel and shoot videos or record videos, and so we've been overwhelmed by the response. We had over 80 instructors attend the initial informational meetings about producing videos for us, and we're so appreciative of that help. Additionally, if you're interested in if you're an instructor and interested in reviewing a module, we do have that opportunity available as well. Sign up will be available until Friday. We appreciate the support. We'll do our best to match everybody. I think people are so anxious to see this hybrid training that they're so willing to volunteer. So we've been overwhelmed with the number of reviewers. So I cannot promise that everybody will receive a module to review just by the sheer numbers of people who have demonstrated interest. But please, if you feel like you would like to lend or help with that, I can resend the link to you. You can email me at secretariat@cpsboard.org if you did not receive the link to sign up for that. Just note again that this is available to instructors only. Thank you, I appreciate that. And thank you for your patience as we work on this. We are really excited. There will be 3 different components. There'll still be an in-person component. So we're not able to totally eliminate that, but there will also be e-learnings where the students will do their own self-guided instruction or reading of the technician guide and answering of the questions and processing of the information that way. And additionally, they also will be a virtual component. So the instructors will be meeting with the students virtually before they meet in person. All right, so let's move on to one additional training that we can speak about, and we have information at this point, and then I'm happy to take questions after that. So working to make child passenger safety as accessible as possible and that information as accessible as possible to everyone, we developed the Car Seat Basics training. This was launched in December of 2020 through the support of NHTSA and the National Safety Council. The goal of this Car Seat Basics e-learning is to help learners feel more confident about car seat and booster seat use by developing awareness for evidence-based guidelines of proper use. So you will see this is the homepage, it's what it looks like. You will find this on cpsboard.org trainings/trainings. If you forget the S on training and make it trainings and make it training, it will still redirect you to this page. This is available free of charge. And this does update and replace OpKids, which was a previous basics awareness training that we had available. There are plans in the future to adapt this to an in-person training, but at this point, this is all online or e-learning. And I encourage you to take this, if for no other reason, to get a little bit of a glimpse into what the hybrid training, the e-learning components will look like. We're using the same program to develop many of the segments of the hybrid e-learning, and so it will just give you a little bit of an overview. One thing that I do have to mention, just so that you, in case somebody asks and so you can clarify that information, in order to track the use of this training, it is housed in the learning management system for the National Safety Council. So you have to go in and add it to your cart, registering, but you do that as a non-member. And later this week, we'll be adding step-by-step directions to the website to make this a little bit more apparent for you as well. So I just want you to know that we are working on streamlining the access. We've eliminated some of the steps, and we're still working to address those. But it will require a login so that we can produce that proof of completion, and additionally so that we can track who's taking it and report that back to NHTSA. And I'll explain more why in just a little bit as well. So the learner is able to complete the entire course, or they can choose a specific section. And you'll see that it's divided into 4 sections: the rear-facing car seat, the forward-facing car seat, booster seats, and seatbelts. And guidance is provided for choosing a specific section. So maybe you have a family and they just don't know what section to choose. They can select the Help Me Choose button, and that will share the information with them to help their guidance with them to pick the correct module. The length of each section varies from approximately 6 to 15 minutes, depending on the section, with completion time for the entire course at about 60 minutes. If the learner completes the entire course, they receive a proof of completion. We're staying away from using the term certificate of completion because we don't want it to be confused with the certification course as well. Okay, so you'll see here for students who are taking, or learners who are completing the rear-facing car seats, the forward-facing car seats, or the booster seat sections, they must also complete an overview section. In the section, car seat selection based on the child's age, weight, height, and developmental level is introduced. Best practice recommendations, so NHTSA's best practice recommendations are promoted since this is a national resource. We are unable to incorporate state laws, but we do encourage the users or the learners to look up the law in their area. And then an overview of the NHTSA resource, the car seat finder, is provided. The car seats and modes of use are reviewed. And finally, the dynamic, we call it the dynamic duo of the car seat instruction manual and the vehicle owner's manual, is introduced, stressing the importance or highlighting the importance of using these resources together. And this is a theme that's carried throughout the training, and again, referring to that as the dynamic duo. So we used crowdsourcing. We reached out again. We were limited in the photos that we had and the videos that we had to support this training as it was being developed during the pandemic. So we reached out to local technicians or to technicians across the country, and they provided the stories for us. So each of this technical information is delivered in an engaging, interactive manner through scenarios. So we hope that this provides a humanization of technical material content through the storytelling. So you'll see in the rear-facing family, we first joined the Wade family, who are moving their son to a rear-facing convertible seat from the rear-facing only seat, and this is and they have a new to them vehicle. In this scenario, as in other scenarios, we follow the basic outline of the National Child Passenger Safety Technician Certification Training, just at a high level. Then we go through the 5 steps, including selection, direction, location, harness adjustment and fit, and installation. And as you hover over each number, you get a detailed description of the steps for proper use, setting the stage for the learning to come. And then all of these concepts are reinforced through images and videos, knowledge checks, and activities. In scenario 2, we work with the Ramirez family, and they have 2 vehicles and must move Sophia's car seat that's being used in the forward-facing mode that is their wish, and that meets the age, weight, and height requirements for both their car seats as well as for their state between the vehicles. And so we go through and we present the vehicles, we show them where the lower anchors are, where the tether anchors are. And so we've simplified the drawings from the vehicles to make them a little bit more user-friendly or interactive so that families can understand what they're seeing. So Lucy, Sophia's mom, drives the pickup truck and the appropriate seating positions are reviewed. And here's an example of an activity where the learner checks all possible positions for Sophia's car seat based on best practice recommendations. And then moving on to booster seats, and you'll note the icon in the top right corner as well shows you in which module you are. Maria and Hector Garcia have recently relocated to help their grandson with their grandson Isaiah's care, and they'd like to be able to go on outings with him and need help with booster seat use. And we cover this in scenario 3. So in this knowledge check, Isaiah is almost ready to go, but not quite, and resources are provided to assist the learner in determining what's wrong with the way that Isaiah is using this booster seat. And so by clicking the large magnifying glass down here at the bottom, it brings up the image of the booster seat manual or instruction manual. So the booster seat instruction manual shares the relevant information to determine misuse, and it's highlighted in yellow. Again, this is an introductory course, so we try to make the information as accessible and easy to find as possible. Additionally, this reinforces the use of the dynamic duo, the car seat instruction manual and the vehicle owner's manual, as introduced in the overview section. And finally, we meet young performers in the seatbelt module. Their siblings and neighbors who are carpooling to theater practice. Each of them would like to ride in the front seat, of course, but are they ready to do so? Best practice recommendations for the back seat use are reviewed as well. And once it's determined who will ride in the back seat, the learner works to the seatbelt readiness for each of the girls, stressing that this may vary for each based on the vehicle and the seating position in the vehicle. The learner is encouraged to complete the booster seat section if their child is not ready for seatbelt use. At the end of each summary, we provide at the end of each scenario, we provide a summary with the key takeaway points for that module, highlighting what we want each learner to remember. Additionally, we share national resources. So we share the NHTSA Car Seat Finder. We share the American Academy of Pediatrics Healthy Children product, the link to the product listing guide to help with car seat selection as well. We refer the learners to the Governor's Highway Safety Administration state laws to determine what their car seat laws are. We also help the learner find the NHTSA inspection stations and the Safe Kids certification Find a Tech. So we're appreciative of all of our partners for resources and their willingness to partner with us. Additionally, through the development of this e-learning, we recognize the need for a national resource on state child passenger safety resources. So you can find this resulting interactive map at cpsboard.org/state-resources. States that have gone green for safety have active hyperlinks to a website sharing the state and local resources for car seat checks and information and trainings. States in yellow are coming soon. They promised us they're bringing their links soon. They're working hard to, they're updating their websites. And we are working hard to get the entire map filled and hope that I hope that the launch of this e-learning helps promote that. So if you're joining us today from one of those states that hasn't gone green yet, please reach out to me and help me get that to go green as well. So let's take a look at just what the interface for the users. So hovering over Idaho, you see the user receives confirmation that they've selected the intended state. So it'll tell you the agency, the state agency, so Idaho Transportation Department. And then clicking on that, will take the user to that state's website so that you have that child passenger safety information. And so as you can see here, not only do we have information about car seats, laws, and seat checks, but also trainings. And so I highlighted this state just because it shows a lot of different types of links. Some states may only have about where to get your car seat checked. Others may only have trainings, or maybe there's state laws. But it's helpful information for families, and even if they're traveling and they want to find out one-stop place to go and find out what the car seat laws are in each state, they'll have that information available. And then finally, the importance of working with a nationally certified child passenger safety technician is stressed, including information on how to find a CPS technician either through the NITS inspection station finder through an event, or through the Safe Kids Find a Tech. And then we also, the learner is reminded that virtual car seat checks are now available, and those are available on both. So perfect timing, Claire, look at that. There is my contact information, and I always like to share at the end my whys. But before I do that, so you're seeing the pictures of my whys there, and as Claire said, I've been doing this a long time. The young man on the right, who is my son, is the person who got me started in this journey. And I am proud to say he is now a transportation engineer. So he is working more in the active transportation field, more bike and ped, but he's doing transportation engineering. So look at that. But what's coming up in conjunction with that car seat basics? Over the next year, watch for add-on modules. We're looking to add modules to help with law enforcement and fire EMS, healthcare settings, and Head Start, among others. So Head Start, more of the caregiver approach. We'll be adding some Head Start modules, extra modules for the drivers to a school bus curriculum resource at a later point in time. So I am totally open for questions at this point. So Claire?
Okay, we have the e-learning looks excellent. Is there any continuing education hours for nurses? Will it be available in Spanish?
Okay, those are great questions. So I'm going to stop my share if I can, so you guys can see me better. Well, maybe I won't. So there we go. Okay, there we go. Now I can see everybody. Okay, so yes, our goal is, when working with developing the healthcare module, is to also get or the fire EMS or the law enforcement to get those approved through the respective organizations to get continuing education units through their respective organizations. So those are still in the very beginning stages. We are not quite there yet, but we will get there as we work through that. We definitely will be working with those organizations as best as possible to get them approved. We would love to have this translated into Spanish. I believe that will be the next funding cycle, so probably in 2 years we'll be looking at that. We have some other priorities first that we need to do, but that is definitely on our wish list of getting that translated.
What I would like to know from Tammy is if she has gotten any feedback yet on the new version being taught 3 days versus 4 days.
Yes. Hi, Tony. I see that's you. How are you? So for people who have tried, or for instructor teams who have taught the course in 3 days, there are 3 very long days. You have to be super organized, and you need to move very quickly. So, and be on as much help as possible. So, as you're teaching this course for the first time, we are encouraging that to do it in 3.5 to 4 days, especially with COVID and having to wipe down seats and surfaces and all the precautions. So as much as possible, we're encouraging people to try to teach it in a little bit longer format. But if you're ready to go in 3 days, make sure you know your material and that you've reviewed it well.
Can you please repeat what you had said earlier about what pages will be sent to instructors?
Sure. So the when the updates are ready, we will send an instructor email that will go to every instructor, hopefully, with your email that's on your certification profile. So if that's not up to date, please make certain that's up to date. I always get that little plug in because I get all those bounces. So update your email. We will send that out. We will announce. We will tell you where to download all the materials. So every document will be available, the PowerPoint feeds, anything that we've updated. There'll be basically a folder that you can go to and download it all at once to make it as easy as possible.
Can these be updated? Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
For the PowerPoint presentations, we will send updated images that are sized as well to fit in your instructor guide. So I believe they're 2 inches by 3 inches, if I remember correctly. So we will size them on a handout similar to, like, if you've done latch manual handouts or updates before, where you have to cut and paste a little piece of paper in, similar to that, size to fit right over what's in your instructor guide so that you can update your instructor guide easily. Because I know for me personally, I like to have everything look the same that I'm seeing and that I'm presenting. So we'll make that as easy for you as possible. And if you have suggestions, a lot of the documents that you see online, especially with the answer key configurations, those are requests from the field. And so if there's something that would be helpful, please let us know. Submit it through the curriculum feedback form, and we'll work on developing that for you if possible.
Okay, that seems to be all the questions, Tammy, at this point. You answered the ones she had asked about resizing themselves, but you had answered all that for it. So thank you very much.
You know, well, I can share a couple more quick updates. I don't have slides available because they're still so much in the development stage, but we are working on them. We are working on the development to, or the update to the school bus training as well. So that is in the drafting stage. We will be offering that. Hopefully, we would love to have it done by August for school. I'm not sure. That's with the hybrid training that was a new addition, and so it's rearranged some of the deliverable timelines. But that is our goal, to get that done as quickly as possible. And we may be looking at some crowdsourcing for that as well, for school bus pictures, images, and videos. Additionally, we are working on updating the instructor development course, which is currently on the website. I don't know if you've participated in that, but rather than just making that for instructors, it'll be basically community education learning. It's going to be renamed to the Educator Development Learning Library, where you can mix and match the modules that will be designed to be completed both online or in person, presented in person with a supporting instructor guide. So that's a little bit further out. I anticipate that those modules will start to release about the same time as the hybrid training, so towards the end of the year. But that is another curriculum that is in development. So lots of moving pieces here, but we know that the most urgent to get out is this updated hybrid curriculum to help meet the learning needs just during COVID and our current situations. So we're working on that one as quickly as possible.
The wave of the future for sure. We had one last question pop in and said that, what were the updates again to Module 2?
Module 2 just has a couple image updates, I believe. It's nothing, it's just to the PowerPoint presentation. So the activity, that first activity will still remain, where you have the students go out and install car seats in their vehicle with little direction to see, give a baseline and see what they learn over the next few days.
Perfect. Well, thank you. We're very excited about all the new stuff coming out.
Yes, and so please watch for announcements in terms of how many people, or in terms of the webinars in May about the hybrid curriculum. So we hope that you can join us then. Perfect.
All right, Illinois is here for you if you need any assistance. We got great instructors.
So I know you do. I wish I could get there, Claire. My demo seat came from Illinois now because I needed it here more.
Fair to see. So I saw that.
We're not traveling any, so hopefully by late summer we'll be allowed to travel, and I'll be coming back to Illinois.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you for your time, Tammy. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.